Palmer connecting you to some college jobs?
Hey guys, I don't have time for that speculation. I mean, that's a joke to me. I got one of the best jobs in all of professional sport. Why would I have any interest in coaching college football? That'll be the last time that I address it. And not only today, but moving forward. Never say never, but never. Okay? Anybody else got any questions about any college jobs? There's not a booster with a big enough blank check.
Anyone else? All right.
Thank you. Anybody asking Sean Payton about that? You know, anybody asking Andy Reid about stuff like that?
Yo, Mike Tomlin up freaking set. What's up, y'all? It's Box Seats, and it is going down as it does every day. My man is in the building, the business bully, and the great Mike Sean. What's up, gentlemen? How are you today?
What's good?
Hey, I found that Mike Tomlin video. What up, though, business bully? What up, though, Mike Sean? That's a great color, sir.
Thank you.
And whoa. And shouts out to our audience that's always in the game, always checking us out. Boom. Hey, good afternoon, fellas. Thank you, Mr. Amir Sealy. Always a pleasure to see you rock with us, brother. And matter of fact, Frank, send Amir the link if he's available. Send Amir the link if you're watching. My girl Sharonda, hot off that young birthday celebration. Good afternoon, Rodney. Well, good afternoon, Sharonda. How are you? Good afternoon, to the three of you. Well, thank you, Sharonda. We really appreciate it. Man, Mike Tomlin has obviously been getting these questions, and he's sick of it. What's your thoughts?
We can't hear you.
What?
Well, Mike Tomlinson. Let's go on Mike Tomlinson right now. Let's see if Rodney can adjust the situation. Me and the business bully, we've been talking a lot lately.
We got it.
All right. People have been joking. I think people have on ESPN on different networks haven't gotten to the point. Haven't gotten to the point where.
I think people have.
Oh, I hear myself coming back.
Networks haven't gotten to the point.
Okay, I think we're good now. I think people have gotten. I think Mike Tomlinson got to the point where he was saying he made it clear. Why doesn't Andy Reid get these college questions?
Right.
Why don't these white head coaches get the same questions? And how long do I have to spend at one of the premier NFL franchises of all time and be extremely successful, win a Super Bowl, never have a losing record, and still get questioned, do I want to go to USC or do I want to get a college gig or am I interested? Now, did he overreact? Some people could say he overreacted. Because what I heard is that this was something that was out in the media where people were asking, Mike Tomlinson could go to USC and turn that thing turn that in the right way, or could go to LSU. And one of his former players, Ryan Clark, actually was the one who started the rumor. And Ryan Clark actually went on ESPN and said, my bad. I'm the one who said we should pay him whatever he wants. But I think Mike Tomlinson may have had an agenda before that and got sick and tired of being tested after his resume is so amazing. Your thoughts, business bully?
Yeah, I think it's very clear that when you're black, you have to do 10 times more just to get 20% of the respect. It's no longer half as much. And I think when this man, if this dude was the coach of the Miami Dolphins, okay. If he was the coach of the Eagles, okay. But this man is the coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And as much as I hate the Pittsburgh Steelers, I admire that man's coaching record. It's not like he has got a bad one. He's a phenomenal coach. He knows how to manage up. He knows how to manage down. He knows how to keep the front office out of his locker room. I think he's absolutely well within his rights to say you're not asking Andy Reid those questions. And I think on top of that, we need to get ourselves to a point where we start normalizing the fact that black people are able to play quarterback and black people are able to coach football. There's nothing wrong with our brains. We are just as phenomenal as anybody else who happens to be of Caucasoid descent.
Yeah. Let's. This is Frank Holder here stepping in because it looks like Rodney Perry's having some technical difficulty. Let's be honest, fellas. We all know what this really is, man. This is a black and white issue. Mike Tomlin's trying to say it without actually trying to say it. You know what I mean? Like he was throwing the words out there. He was upset. He was offended. I read a couple of articles on the way he was taking this last night and everything else. And I guess the real question is whether or not I'm gonna ask you, Mike. The real question is whether or not is do you think it's a racial issue? Or do you think it's just basically a coach issue right now? I mean, honestly, as being a coach, you know, was he asked that because he's a coach? Was he asked that because he's black? Well, you know, talk to me, Mike. What you think, man?
I think the reporter may have been able to say, backed up why he asked the question. But I think Mike Tomlinson is saying this because he's sick and tired of being questioned. When he's done, what his resume says is impeccable.
Right.
Like what his resume as a head coach should not be questioned.
Right.
Like if you're asking I think Mike Tomlinson was irritated before this conversation came up and before this question came up. Right. And I think he just used it as a launching pad to be like, I'm tired, because we don't hear the Pittsburgh media. Like we're not in Pittsburgh, so we don't hear the local radio stations of what they're saying. But I think he's getting irritated that there must be some sounds of people saying maybe we should get another coach. Yeah. And do what?
Yeah, exactly. Yo, Dave, he's absolutely right. But let's be honest too, man. Mike Tomlin he's a Hall of Famer. Well, if he was to stop today, he got a yellow coat waiting for him to walk into the Hall of Fame right now. So in some aspects, some people, some white folks, I'm gonna say white folks is looking at why are you feeling this way that you feel this way? Because to be honest with you, bro, you know, you should be asked this. You're a Hall of Fame coach. You know what I mean? We didn't mean no disrespect and everything like that, but he took it that way. I mean, is he wrong to take it that way? What you think?
No, and I'm going to tell you, he's not wrong. Having been in high-level corporate positions, there's always a stigma of, can you do it? Will you do it? I'll never forget the last corporate job I worked. They didn't think I'd be able to pull the numbers I'd pull in comparison to my white counterparts, and I destroyed my white counterparts. Then all of a sudden, it was real quiet. There is an underlying subliminal thing that happens when you're a black person in spaces that they don't think you're supposed to be in. It doesn't matter how phenomenal you are. It doesn't matter that you're a first ballot Hall of Famer. All they care about is what happens with their unconscious bias. And after a while, you get sick of that. Imagine being in Pittsburgh. And imagine that going on from the time you got picked, because when you go all the way back, you know, there's like, oh, this is a Rooney situation, right? This ain't going to last. They're just doing this for optics. And then he started kicking ass. So, yeah, I think he's right to take it that way. Was it meant that way? No, but it was the straw that broke the camel's back, in my opinion.
Yeah, I can't even do it. Go ahead, Mike.
And you know what's funny, Frank and Dave, I want to say this. I agree, and I think there is a heavy undertone of race, especially after we found out those emails with Gruden also made fun of the Rooney Rule. And they also were saying some sarcastic things about the Rooney Rule. Now, on a different, same topic, but a different angle. Mike Tomlinson at LSU, can you imagine him going to recruit players? Can you imagine the effect of having him come into your living room and recruit? You talk about somebody who your parents would literally go, and I don't mean this to be funny. That is now your daddy for the next 3 years. You go to LSU and you go follow that daddy right there. I'm just saying on the flip side. Now I know Mike Tomlinson was like, I've had it with this. But just on the flip, and even when Ryan Clark was talking on ESPN, I can only imagine if you gave him LSU what Mike Tomlinson could do with that. It could be historical. Yeah, but I understand, Mike. We get it. I understand.
It would be historical. We can't even front with that. So, since we're staying with the NFL, man, you know, the next topic that we got to talk about is Roger Godell came out yesterday, and he said a couple of things that stood out to me. And one of the biggest things he said that stood out was that the NFL is leading this investigation into the Washington football team. But the information and the findings are not going to be released. They're not going to tell you all where everything's going to happen, what's going to be said and everything else. Now, Dave, talk to me, man. Tell me what you hear, because here's the crazy thing about this story is a week ago, John Gruden literally came out and said, listen, I don't know if you guys realize this or not, but when the rest of the story comes out, it's going to be earth-shattering. But I'm not going to say everything and tell everybody what came out and what, you know, was said and everything else. But then all of a sudden, literally yesterday, Roger Godell came out and said, yeah, but the findings not going to be released. Dave, talk to me, man. Tell me what you think when you hear this, man, because I was shocked.
Well, Frank, here's the thing. They are not going to release the records because it's going to open the floodgates. I've said this. Michael Sean has said this. It's a matter of They don't want everybody to know everything else that's going on behind the scenes and how disgusting what happens in those front offices and in those back rooms of the NFL actually is. The Washington football team has a sordid history of disrespect, of neglect, and I think that they don't want another black eye on the NFL, especially after the Kaepernick situation, especially after the situation that's happened in Vegas. I think they're trying to keep as much stuff under wraps as soon as humanly possible to not mess up the $25 billion they make every year.
Yeah, I can't even front with you. That makes perfect sense to me. Mike, you have been saying this, bro. You've been saying it for a long time, man. Talk to me. Tell me what you think.
No, this is the tip of the iceberg, but only Roger Goodell can continuously do this with the backing of the NFL owners. Like, let's remember when he busted, I hate to say this, Frank, but when the Patriots got caught with Spygate, they had the tapes. They did not show us exactly what the Patriots were actually taping. And they destroyed the tapes. Number 2, Ray Rice. He got caught. He had those tapes too. But them tapes leaked out.
Mm-hmm.
He is not going to let these emails. If you talk about the homophobia, the racist comments, can you imagine what these emails are going back and forth saying about star players? I'm just assuming. I'm speculating.
Right.
And if John Gruden, who wasn't even in the league, was that comfortable to send this to another president of another NFL team, can you imagine the emails that are being sent between these owners? Can you imagine what they're saying about union situations? About if you think the Michelin Lips was a bad, disrespectful thing, which it was, can you imagine what the owners thought about him?
Yeah, and let's be honest, Mike, you're on point with that. Let's be honest. And Rodney Perry looks like he's back. Let's be honest. He does not want to release this stuff because it's the owners. The owners collectively are all billionaires. They control this country in one way, shape, or form or another. Rodney Perry, what's your thoughts on this, brother? Talk to me. Tell me what you think.
Well, it's like the guys are saying, they protect the shield at all costs. I mean, the NFL is very consistent across the board. They protect the shield. The shield is the most important thing, and they're not going to let no little controversy, racial or other, come between them and the greater good of the shield.
Yeah, honestly, I think he's absolutely right. Because here's the crazy thing about it. This leads to another story, too, that came out also yesterday. And I'm going to start with you, Mike. This leads to another story that also came out yesterday. The Houston Texans chairman and CEO, Cal McNair. I know you heard this story because you're in Dallas, Mike. I know you heard this. He was at an event and talking, just casually everything else, saying, I'm sorry about about the China virus. He let that slip. So if that was in some email, if he said that out loud,
Frank, he didn't let it slip. He said it.
Yes, yes, he said it. But my point is, if he said that casually out loud, Mike, it's in the email. It's in the email.
Yeah. So when he gets the China virus, where did he get that from? What president? It wasn't Obama,
exactly,
right? Okay.
Well, for the record, Mike Sean, for the record, our last president called it the Kung flu.
Yeah. Yes. My thing is, that we have owners who are support, and you have the right to support whatever party you want to support. But this is an ongoing thing. So if those comments made the China virus, just imagine what their attitude was about Black Lives Matter.
Right.
Just imagine what was going on. And I will warn the NFL this. They already got busted trying to hide the tapes with Ray Rice. This is a different time than it was when you guys burnt the tapes with the Patriots. It's a different time. It's 2021. You have now made a challenge to all these outlets. You're saying you're not going to release the emails, which means you have challenged everybody. TMZ, every outlet, the Times, the Post, every social outlet, every news media. You've challenged them to get the leak. And they got the money to get the leak, homie. You should have never said you weren't going to release these, because now you basically said y'all can't get them. And everybody has a source to get them.
Yeah,
you can't hide these emails.
But Dave, at the end of the day, it's due to social media now, due to Twitter being released out, due to all the hype and everything else, social media. Since the time the Patriots got caught with the cheating scandal, since the time Deflategate, things have even been heightened even more than that now. You know what I mean? It's 2021. everything else. Some people have got to be held accountable with something. That's what I'm thinking, man. Dave, talk to me. You are the business bully. Tell me what your thoughts are, man.
Well, from a business perspective, they are going to deal with some fallout any way you slice it. And the more they try to move in a direction that fights the climate that we're in, the higher that tax is going to hit them. On top of that, what you're doing when you cover up things and you start, saying things out of pocket, you don't realize everybody and their mama is now the paparazzi. Everybody and their mama is one quick
Great
little
point.
button tap away from
Great
getting
point.
a paycheck from TMZ,
Great
from
That's
point.
what I'm
the
saying.
Daily
Yep.
Mail,
Great
from
point.
ESPN, because
Right.
everybody has a 4K camera attached
Right.
to their cellular device. And if you're not careful, you deserve absolutely every single thing that you get.
Yeah, but Dave, and let me stay with you for a quick second, Dave. The impact of a negative story can financially affect your NFL team also too. Because let's be honest, man, if you are any NFL team, let's just say you're in Houston, for example, the majority of your fan base is your fan base is not all white. Your fan base is not all Mexican. Your fan base is not all black. You still have to walk a fine line to that too. Talk to me. What you think?
Yeah, here's the thing with that. To be honest with you, it will affect for a little bit, but we're dealing with people who have a very, very short-term mindset, a very short-term memory. So the same reason everybody was like, oh, we're going to protest and we stand with Cap are the same people who are watching the NFL week in and week out. They think that they can ride it out, but there's a group of people now who are like a dog with a bone. And they're like, yeah, no, we're going to hurt you. And I think there's a bunch of individuals who are tired of being disenfranchised and disrespected, who are going to start hitting not only the NFL, but their advertisers where it hurts, and that's in the pockets. So I think you're right with that one, Frank.
Yeah, and that's the point I'm leading to, Rodney Perry, man. Because honestly, let's be honest, man. The way to hurt these people and make them accountable and everything else is in their pockets. But also, who polices the police, Rodney Perry? Who polices the NFL? What's the point? Like, I mean, if we as black people, if we as regular people, if we still go and support these games and everything else, and they're clearly racist, then shouldn't something be said about us too? I mean, let's be honest, right? I mean, am I too far gone?
It's like Fig says, man, if we're not willing to start another league, we kind of need to shut the hell up.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be great, but I don't see us start a new league anytime soon. They won't include us in ownership. They won't include us in decision makers. We got a collective bargaining agreement that's a sham. And so you're essentially on a plantation. At some point, somebody's got to leave, but who's going to leave $1 million?
But Rodney, who polices the police though? Who's going to police the NFL? Who's going to police Roger Godell?
Nobody.
Shouldn't there be an issue with that? Isn't there something like there's no activist group? There's no.
Mike Sean got something. Mike, what do you say?
Yeah, the Congress, something.
We all advertisers are the ones that police the NFL. So, like Business Bully brought up, if they start pulling out and they get pressure from, listen, when the homophobic slurs start flying, that's when, and unfortunately, you can N-word the game to death and everybody gets over it.
Mm-hmm.
But as we see, when these slurs start flying, but the power is this, and nobody would ever believe this, but people forget Major League Baseball went on strike before the World Series.
Yeah.
And they canceled the World Series.
Yeah, remember that.
And that's why these baseball players make the money that they make.
Yeah,
and that's why they are managers in the dugout that speak Spanish as a first language.
Yeah.
Because the league is such a majority Hispanics from all over the world.
Yeah.
If the NFL players were ever gangster enough to say before the Super Bowl, if we don't get this, the Super Bowl don't happen.
Right.
That would be all.
But Mike Sean, didn't they try that? And they brought scabs in.
No, I'm saying before the Super Bowl. I'm saying before the Super Bowl. You ain't bringing scabs for the Super Bowl and saying, you know what?
Yeah, you're not doing that.
This Rooney Rule has been a joke. There's nobody that looks like me or sounds like me who owns a team, and you won't let them because they're people financially capable of buying a team. What you did to Colin Kaepernick, and you have the agenda, and you say the Super Bowl ain't going to happen. unless we get this.
Yeah. Let me ask Bully this. Dave, talk to me about this one. Roger Goodell's still in the news too, because Roger Goodell came out yesterday and said, you know what? Since we're speaking about that, let me give you all an update of what's going on with Deshaun Watson. And you know what? The update with Deshaun Watson is there's no update. So y'all stop asking. If you want to trade for him, you can trade for him. If you want him, you can have him. But if you don't want him, there's no update right now and everything else. So Dave, talk to me about that. Like, honestly, I heard a gangster, but gangster is like Roger Goodell is the gangster of gangsters. You know what I mean? But he's the corporate gangster. What he says is what it is going to be.
I think at this point, I got two thoughts on this. One, I feel like when it comes to the NFL, the entire organization feels like they're too big to fail, right? The other part of that, when you're talking about a Deshaun Watson or any of these other individuals, if it's going to hurt them in the short term, they will go ahead and let the situation, play itself out. But if it's going to help them in the long run, they'll stick with it. I honestly don't know which way this is going to fall out. I'll stand by this to the day I die. Roger Goodell is about as much in control of the NFL as Jack Tunney was in control of the WWF in the 1980s.
See, that statement, I disagree with you on that one, Rodney Perry. I disagree with that statement. He said, I think Roger Goodell is the police of the police. I think he when he wants to, he can. When he doesn't want to, he act like he don't want. Like he's the guy who tip taps. You know what I mean? He does that as he chooses to. Rodney, what's your take on this? Because honestly, he said some pretty gangster statements yesterday.
I think he's a bit of a figurehead. I mean, these moves that we're seeing as of late make him look strong, but I think those owners are the end all be all. The buck stops with them, and he's their mouthpiece. And if he says anything, he's been told to say it.
What do you mean told to say? You mean told to say by the ownership group?
Exactly. He is not making no independent choices. I believe that Roger Goodell is nothing more than a mouthpiece for the Shield.
I don't know if he. I think he does. I don't know. I mean, Mike, talk to me. What you think? Because you're in Dallas, man. You know more than anybody because you hear from Jerry Jones.
Jerry Jones, when everybody was kneeling, and when Jerry Jones went into his locker room, then he told them African-American grown-ass men, nobody on this team's going to kneel. That's when you already knew. Mm-hmm. Look, Roger Goodell's getting paid $50 million a year from these owners. He's going to say whatever they tell him to say. And I ain't even mad at him because I don't know what I would say if somebody gave me $50 million a year. Mm-hmm. But it's these old-ass white billionaires who have been used to saying and doing whatever they want. And you know what? I can't even be mad because the system that they've created has allowed them. So there's going to have to be a sacrifice. And this is why I don't say names. I don't say this player should do it or that player. I'm saying in order for it to happen, I'm not even saying if I was in their situation, I'd be built to do it. But in order to change it, there has to be an ultimate sacrifice. And that's going to be an ultimate financial sacrifice and a risk. And the union has never set themselves up years in advance saying, we're going out on strike in 3 years, y'all. In 3 years. And if we don't get this, we're not coming back. So I'm warning everybody to get your money right. Matter of fact, we'll give you financial advisors to get your stuff right. And for all your rookies coming in, understand there'll be no excuses. No one's crossing this line. That's the only way to shake this up. That's it goes on as it usually goes on. Curt Flood had to make the ultimate sacrifice for Major League Baseball players to get free agency. He lost his career, and none of these players will ever even bring his name up in every sport. The guy who gave you free agency, Curt Flood, lost his career doing it. Mm-hmm. There's got to be a sacrifice. Once again, I'm not talking from the high mountain. I don't know if I'd be built to do it.
Yeah,
I'm just being honest.
Rodney Perry, I'm gonna let you handle this from now on, bro. Since it looks like you're back fully.
Yeah, you definitely have some technical difficulty, man. Let's get back. First of all, thank you, Frank Holder. That's our executive producer, the man, the myth, the legend.
Frank Holder
came through. Talk to Hail Mary, rock the. You know what, Frank, man. I'm gonna give you a tiny slap, man. I appreciate you, bro.
No problem, bro.
I just gotta give you a tiny slap, man. Every once in a while, people don't give you what you deserve, man. Shouts out to the Braves. Braves win first game of the World Series, 6-2. Gentlemen, the
Ooh, man.
Braves are looking like, they might get it done. What do you think, Bully?
I side with the Braves. I think the Braves are starting to turn. I think they really want to bring this thing home, Kimbo. Hey, shawty, we trying to have a party down, listen, on Peachtree. All the Peachtree. They're going to have the biggest parade/party. Killer Mike is going to be the grandmaster of the situation. T.I. is going to be in charge of food. Like, I'm looking forward to this morning, and Bone Crusher is going to be on that grill. He's going to be doing ribs.
Jesus, not Bone Crush.
He definitely got the ribs. Mike Sean, man, we've been watching this Braves team, and it seemed like it was like the local people here are waiting on them to fall apart, but it don't look like they're going to fall apart. What do you think?
Well, they did. I think the locals have seen what happened with the Braves in history, and they saw what happened last year with the Braves, who were up 3-1. But they look good. Like, listen, I know if I was a Braves fan, I have some reservations also. I would be like, I see what y'all did to me last year. I see what y'all did to me when y'all had one of the greatest teams ever and only could win one World Series. Y'all just went back to the playoffs and lose, back to the World Series and lose. But damn, they look good. They look
very good.
Yeah, and they made the Astros look like this may not be a series.
Hey, how about this? How about Charlie Morton threw 16 pitches on a broken leg?
A broken leg? What is going on? And they try to tell us steroids still ain't in baseball? There's no way you do that. Without getting shot up with something.
Don't even get me started on that, because I believe steroids save baseball.
It absolutely did save baseball.
Yeah. But that's a whole other conversation. The Bully is having a little issue, technical difficulty himself. How are you, Bully?
The Bully's mobile. Bully's mobile right now, dog. The Bully's Uber.
Right.
But he's doing what he can do, though. Don't worry about it, Bully. He's doing what he can do. But I'm right here, so you know what I mean. Let's keep it rolling, Rodney. Let's keep it rolling.
Anthony Davis goes down. Bit of a knee injury. We know this guy can be Mr. Glass, but he was tough as nails last night. He went down. He sucked it up and finished the game. Bully, what's your thoughts on Anthony Davis right now?
Look like he's stuck.
I think he's frozen records.
He is frozen. Frank Holder.
Yeah.
What are you thinking about my guy Anthony Davis out there in LA?
Honestly, to be honest with you, bro, I don't think anybody's surprised if Anthony Davis gets injured at any time during the season. I know I'm one of them. I was surprised that it happened this early. I'm not gonna lie. I was surprised that anything that happened with the Lakers right now this early is gonna be shocking to anybody right now. But I'll be honest with you, man. The Lakers still look formidable. You know what I mean? They're still able to piece it together. They're still moving the ball around. They're still able to do what they can do. So we'll see, man. We'll see what happens, man. What's your take?
Now, here goes the second question in reference to the Lakers. Are we seeing load management already? LeBron didn't play last night. He has a bit of an ankle tweak. Mike Sean, are we seeing load management this early in the season, 5 games in?
Absolutely. That was the reason why you stacked everybody on the team. Absolutely. And it was ironic that Russell Westbrook had an amazing game and they let him loose last night and he started getting comfortable. The funny part with LeBron is, did y'all see LeBron actually coaching and Frank Vogel was on the bench?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes.
Like, I am the biggest LeBron fan and I understand what he's doing is trying to help another player. But isn't there a way to do it where you actually don't look like the head coach?
Right.
Like,
but Frank, was that disrespectful? I mean, was he disrespecting Frank Vogel, you think?
No, I don't think he was and everything. And honestly, I think any help that he could give, everything, everybody's going to going to listen to him, because he's on the court also. But I don't think it's disrespectful at all. But the thing is perception is reality. What will the Lakers fans and the NBA world look at it like? You know what I mean? That's what I think. I think it's going to be the bigger issue because the last time that happened to a coach, if I can remember correctly, and the coach was sitting there with the thing in his hand, and the other player was coaching, another player was coaching. That coach wasn't around long, if I can remember correctly. So it depends.
Right. I mean, but we've seen player coaches. I watched a documentary just last week about a player coach, Tree Rollins, who got in the game, and he messed up his own little rules. But here goes. Let's move on. Before we go lead the Lakers, Russell Westbrook and Mike Sean just said it. Russell Westbrook looked incredible last night.
Yeah.
Mike, man, I mean, are we seeing Russell Westbrook turn the corner?
I think we're seeing him turn the corner, but what we haven't seen is how can the coach stagger his time to turn the corner where Russell Westbrook can do that in conjunction with LeBron and Anthony Davis. That's the whole answer to this Rubik's Cube. How do we get all the colors? Like, how can we use Russell the way he needs to be used? Because he can't change. He has to attack. He has to be on attack. So how do they juggle this thing to get him in?
He slowed down just a little bit. He slowed down a little bit. He was a little more composed. Frank, what do you think, man? Russell Westbrook, I know you hate his guts. Is he finding his way?
Yeah, he is. He is. I think he's going to find his way to everything. But my big thing is, I told you, Roddy, was it last week or the week before, man? I think the Lakers really should bring back the triangle offense, because that way Russell Westbrook could flourish, man. You know what I mean? And LeBron doesn't have to pull back, use so much of his energy. I think he'll last longer and everything else. But you know what? What do I know? I mean, I'm coaching from my couch. You know what I mean? What do I know?
Hey, but that's not a bad idea. When you said it last week, we was talking offline. I was like, that's not a bad idea. If you could see the triangle in LA right now with the shooters they got, it could be incredible.
Yeah. I think if you have LeBron, like you have LeBron, AD, and Russell, you know what I mean, at the point, and then be able to switch it to the other side, and then you have Dwight Howard at the same game, like they would be big. Like I think they'd be very big and they'd be very hard to defend. But again, the problem is the triangle works when you're banging. You know what I mean? Like when you're down low and you're banging, and you know, like you said last week, the league is not the way it is like it used to be in the 90s, bro, in the early 2000s. You know, it's not that much, you know, going on down low. It's not that much. It's just not. Fouls are called differently. The game is different completely. So
the game is very different. Mike Sean, Kemba Walker played a decent game last night, but he got benched toward the end.
Mm-hmm.
I think as you got to set the standard now. Nobody's above sitting on that bench. As you're a Knick, this is all about winning. They had a great game last night. They blew out the Sixers. We cannot have this early. We ain't win no championships. So can't nobody take offense. It's I put you in. When I put you in, you do what you got to do. If Derrick Rose gets hot, let Derrick Rose in there. And we got a bunch of new pieces to the puzzle. All these egos, we cannot have an ego on a team that hasn't won a championship since 1971. Whatever works. So Kemba, just be happy you're back in New York, and I think he's a super plus for our team. And I think the Knicks are going to be a problem. I think they're going to be a problem this year.
I think you're going to be a mad Knicks fan, bro. I'm just letting you know now.
Why you say that, Frank?
Because Kemba Walker came from the Celtics. I expected a lot of scoring from him, and I expected some kind of defense from him. But what I realized in the last 2 seasons is Kemba can't really stop nobody because he's not big enough to stop anybody down low. You know, especially when the game slows down in the playoffs, Mike, and you got to really D up somebody and everything else. Kemba couldn't stop nobody. Ended up getting injured from that twice. You know what I mean? He couldn't stop nobody. So I ended up becoming a very angry Celtics fan. Like, why is this dude even in the game? And I think Tom Thibodeau's recognizing that towards the end of the game.
Yeah, I think you might have a point, Frank, because Thibodeau is a defensive-minded guy, and if he cannot get you to play defense, he's going to make you come sit next to him. Great point, man. Baker Mayfield, he wants to play this week against the Steelers. Should they put him back in the game, or should they go with Case Keenum, Frank Holder?
You know, honestly, Baker Mayfield is not playing good this year and everything else. If I was him, I wouldn't be such a rush to bring him back, because at the end of the day, the team needs to continue to keep winning because they got to be concerned about their seeding in the playoffs right now. You're looking at the Chiefs, the way the Chiefs are losing. If the Chiefs end up sliding in at the last spot and they have to come in at the second or third spot, they might be right off pitted against the Browns and everything else. So you got to be concerned about that. So if you lose this week, it might not be so bad because you won't have to face the Kansas City Chiefs in the first round of the playoff. Because no matter what happens, bro, it looked like they headed towards that. You got to with the 17-game season right now, every game is critical. Honestly, every game is critical. But now you're almost at the halfway point. You got to start looking towards the playoffs. You got to start looking towards the seeding right now. And if I'm the Browns, I'm like, you know what? Sit him down right now and let's see so we get our stuff situated. Because look at the Ravens end up losing this week. You know, the Browns lost this week. And Cincinnati Bengals won this week. You know what I mean? The Chiefs lost. You got to be concerned of where you're going to be at as it goes down to it. Because honestly, I think we're maybe 1 week or 2 weeks away from being at the midway point of the season. That's my position.
Hey, the Browns and Pittsburgh Steelers, the rival game, is one of those big games every year for this team.
Right.
Do you think that Baker Mayfield should be getting this game, Mike Sean?
No, give him another week. But give him another week. But let's be clear. You're not gonna ride with Case Keenum. So all the disrespect that y'all like people want to give, that I hear people give, you don't. Like, they were close to beating the Chiefs last year. Listen, is he Josh Allen? No, he's not Josh Allen. No, he's not Burrow. No, he's not Justin Herbert and all them guys. No, is he a level below them? Yes, but the guy can get you to where you got to go. Once you get your running game back, you just came off a victory. Case Keenum didn't shake up the world last week. He did what he was supposed to do. He held down the fort, and this team is based on their running game and their defense, and it's not going to be a high-flying team. And I know people are going to get frustrated because they have weapons. They got Odell. They got Landry out there. Baker Mayfield ain't a superstar passer, thrower. He's not Kyle Murray. He's none of these guys, but he's good enough. He's better than Brad Johnson, and Brad Johnson won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, and honestly, let me throw this out there too, Rodney Perry. There's a lot of teams that you don't want to see in the playoffs, bro. Like, there's a lot of teams you don't want to, especially in the AFC. Justin Herbert's team, the Chargers, bro. Let's be honest with you, nobody even knows how to play them all because they're gonna hit you with a surprise because you haven't played them. You're not paying attention to them. You're not paying attention to the Raiders. The Raiders don't suck this year.
No, the Raiders don't. No, not at all.
You know what I mean? Like, you're not paying attention to certain teams. You're paying attention to the same old teams, looking like, okay, well, we got to pay attention to the Ravens. We got to pay attention to the Steelers and everything else. But a couple of teams are going to sneak up there and knock you out. The Bengals are the surprise team this year, hands down. You know what I mean? Like, look at the Bengals, 6-2 right now. Like, nobody's paying attention to the Bengals. Nobody's paying attention to the Chargers. Those two teams like that, they can sneak up and hit you in the mouth if you're not being prepared for that. You know, so Baker needs to sit his behind down and
get healthy.
One more game.
And the Chiefs, I don't think the Chiefs are going to make the playoffs. So I think the Cleveland's going to be all right. I really don't think the Chiefs are going to make the playoffs.
I think they will, but I think they'll be in the. I think they'll be in the, like the, what is it, 8th seed, 9th seed. I don't know how. I don't even know what the seeding looked like this year because now there's 17 games. So I know there's only supposed to be one top seed, and nobody's supposed to get two weekends off. You know what I mean? I know that there's that. So I don't know how they're going to do it this year.
I think people are underestimating that Andy Reid lost one of his sons from an overdose during preseason, and now he has another son that's facing 20 years in jail.
Yeah, that's a great point.
That is a lot going on outside of his life that is so much bigger than football.
That is an excellent point. That's an excellent point. You know what else? Let me throw it out there to you guys too. In the NFC, nobody's paying attention to the Arizona Cardinals neither, man. And Arizona, like, literally.
Well, they're not giving no respect. Like, nobody wants to respect them. I'm like, damn.
Yeah, they can walk.
They kick your butt.
Huh?
They kick your butt. Hey, how about this, guys? Ex-New England Patriot, Patrick Chung. Have you seen this story, Frank? Patrick Chung charged with assault and battery of a member of his family.
It's running up and down on Boston sports all day, all night. Like, I can't stop hearing about it. You know what I mean?
He was a great guy though, and I assume it's a male family member because they didn't say it was a female.
Here's the situation. What makes it look bad for him too is he had a cocaine charge against him a couple of years ago. You know what I mean? So there's that. He had an issue, a couple of other issues that got squashed and put under the rug right now. So the problem is with Patrick Chung, he also set up his own business outside in Quincy. He also helped put up together a bank in Quincy, Mass up here. You know what I mean? He's out and about in the community. So when he does something like this, it's going to get more traction because he's a community member. He does things in the community, so I don't even know if he would got so much life if he hadn't been so active in the community. But yeah, I think it's a male member in his family. I think he had an argument, a dispute, and of course they went and took it to the to police. Because me and you we're brothers. We're gonna fight. It ain't gonna go to the police. But I think whoever he argued with took it to the police, and it's not making him look good right now. That's what I think. So
wow, Patrick Chung, man, assault and battery. Mike Sean, are you going to the barbecue with him anytime soon?
No, because if he hit me, I'm pressing charges. Like I'm that dude. I'm that dude. Like, I'm the dude that in my development, if I see a strange car, I call the cops. Like, even if you lost, I call the cops. Call me a snitch. I got to tell. I need my safety at all times. I need my safety at all. I'm sorry. That's why the legal system is there. It's there to be used. So if we had a barbecue and I renege and you get mad at me and you try and hit me, I'm calling the cops, Patrick Chung. Multiple times.
Hey, guys, you guys are incredible. Yo, we've been talking about the NFL in reference to the ownership. The NBA has definitely relinquished some ownership to players, which I said the other day, it's like tantamount to having a glorified season ticket. But how about this? Ken Griffey Jr.
Uh-oh.
He says he's got a dream come true. This Hall of Famer, Ken Griffey Jr., he's got an ownership stake in the Seattle Mariners. Frank, how big of a deal is this, man?
Bro, if you know Ken Griffey played for the Seattle Mariners, this is just not only is it a big deal, he's probably one of the only minority players who played the game who would be considered for ownership. He's probably one of the only people who would be accepted in their circles. He's been known throughout the league not to do steroids and things like that. Like they're trying to change the game in a lot of ways, shape, and form, and trying to bring it over to minority players in all kinds of shapes. So it's a lot to uncover with that story, bro. I've read it too. I was like, wow, that'd be huge because he is a Hall of Fame player too. So it's a huge thing for me, and I'm sure
it's a big deal, Mike Sean. Ken Griffey Jr. I watched a documentary that Chris Rock did. They said one of the big problems with baseball is no Black Americans. What do you think this Ken Griffey in the front office over here with Seattle Mariners will do for acquisition of Black American players?
Now, is he going to be part of the ownership, or are we just going to use him as the fake ownership? Like, is he going to be is he going to have a big stake in it, or is he going to be like?
I don't know, man. I mean, these teams are very expensive, but I mean, we see Magic Johnson with a major role for the Dodgers, so it'll at least be that, right?
At least he's in the door. Let me not be a nitpicker. At least he's in there. I just don't want him to be used as just a mascot, just to say, look, we're doing something, and all he's really doing is he gets invited to the brunches. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want him to actually, like, Derek Jeter's done a nice job. Well, not a nice job, but he has a major role in his baseball team. I don't know if I can say he's done a nice job, but he at least he has a major role. If we can get him in there, and Ken Griffey has some say, and has some real, he can use the knowledge that he has as one of the greatest baseball players ever, I think it's a good positive thing. But if they're just using them.
But the thing is, Mike, he's not going to be able to get some Black Americans to join baseball or to want to play baseball either, because I just don't see that happening. It's a great way to say, hey, we like the space and everything else like that. But listen, baseball in the inner city is too expensive for these mothers and things like that to even afford to go. And then
I play Little League Baseball, though, Frank. I mean, I play Little League Baseball. It didn't but that was 30 years ago too. So.
Yeah. It's a different game right now. You got to remember, for a single mom who's raising kids right now in the inner city, they really can't, scrape together the money to be able to join the league and to buy a bat and to buy a glove and to buy a ball is a lot more expensive than to buy one basketball and send them out. You know what I mean? Not to mention baseball, you got to play with a whole bunch of other players. You really got to. You can't play like with basketball. You can play by yourself. You go out and shoot around. That's why it's losing people in the inner city all day long because of all those reasons. You know what I mean? Kids don't even want to play baseball right now. I play baseball, Little League. I love baseball growing up, man.
But you know what I will say about that? Because I agree with that, Frank. I do agree with that. But I will say this. All the Dominicans and Venezuelans, and they're dirt poor. Mm-hmm. They're dirt poor playing baseball. Baseball's marketing has been horrible.
Right.
But you got sensational athletes. We can't, baseball does not market these players the way they should. Yeah, they just really don't.
The Dominicans and all those countries and everything else, bro, somebody brings a ball and a glove, and they're playing baseball not necessarily with gloves either. You seen they're playing with other.
That's what I'm saying. Because their heroes in those countries are being advertised to them, so they're playing baseball with no shoes on.
Right, and soccer too, but they're playing that game. So
But it's like the way baseball is going about marketing their players. We are huge sports fans. If you really challenge me to give you the 10 top baseball players without Googling them, I'm really going to have to sit here and think and start with Mike Trout and to get 10. That's ridiculous, dog. Yeah. That's horrible.
Man, I'd probably name 10 Red Sox players. That's what I would do to get out of
probably, that. Probably.
Right. Hey, you know what? We might bring that challenge up next week. Ben Simmons, we've been talking about Ben, his potential to leave the Sixers, but it looks like everything is rewinding now. Ben brought up his mental health, and the team is taking a couple of losses. Maybe they need Ben Simmons. What do y'all think about Ben Simmons remaining a Sixer, Frank?
Honestly, I don't think he's going to remain a Sixer by the end of the year, but I think he will suit up and play a game right now. But Ben Simmons' team is very strategic in what they're doing because all of a sudden his back hurts. You know what I mean? All of a sudden he's screaming mental health. So the Sixers are obligated to have to pay him. They had to pay him. You know what I mean? They can't, by the rules of what's going on right now with the Players Association and the NBA rules, if you have certain ailments and everything else, you have to be paid. So he claimed mental health is one of them, and he claimed the back issue. But I think the way he broke the ice by coming to the team and you know, addressing the team the other day and everything else, I think that's the first step to being able to play. But he could be, I don't know, Mike, he could be trying to play right now because he wants to help his value because he realizes trade value ain't that good either. I don't know.
Nobody goes at that general manager, Daryl Morey. Daryl Morey is always considered a genius, right? He goes to Houston. He does all the stuff. He brings everybody in. He does all these moves. No championship. Then he bounces out. This should have been dealt with. At this point, why would you keep this distraction? It's not going to get any better.
Right.
It's not going to get any. First of all, Ben Simmons is not built to get on that court at a home game in Philadelphia right now. He's not built for what they're going to give to him. He'd be better off playing in front of the Klan than going in that stadium and playing in front of Philly fans right now. They are livid. I just happen to be on the East Coast right now in Jersey outside of Philadelphia. These fans on these sports stations are going bananas trying to get at Ben Simmons. And I'm not just talking about the white fans. I'm talking about everybody. If you go on Instagram, they're killing him. If they have a meme now where the Mr. Softy truck goes by and Ben Simmons' face is on there. Wow. Look, man, it hurt my feelings. My feelings were hurt. I was like, wait a second. I didn't deserve all that.
Really? A Mr. Softy?
Mr. Softy truck. And you got major celebrities out here going at him. They're dissing him on the newscast that have nothing to do with sports. Wow. They're bringing him up. They're bringing him up during like weather reports.
Well, hold on, Mike. Hold on, Mike Sean. Ben Simmons is not the softest person in sports.
Why?
Roger's trying to get rid of all our women viewers, all of them. Like,
why?
No, for the ladies listening, Miss Sharonda and a lot of our lady listeners, that is a legitimate sport. It's called buns and basketball. It's akin, Frank, to the lingerie football league, and it's real. These ladies are getting paid, and to our listeners, if you can hoop and you don't look bad in a bikini, you go out there and get that money, man. Mike Sean, what's your thoughts?
Look, I'm gonna be this dude. We take 2 steps forward just to go 2 steps back. These women don't deserve that treatment, but they are some perky asses. I just don't like. I feel like the hygiene ain't right. We said this when we brought it up the first time. There's something that makes me feel
I'm
like
gonna play that video every day. Hey Frank, question.
Please don't play that video every day. Please don't.
Okay, like I only played it 2 seconds. Look, can we get is Miss Holder around?
No, she's at work.
I want to be objective, but I want to get some opinion. All right.
Oh, God.
She's gonna be mad when she sees this video play back. Woo, she's gonna be on fire.
What's the league called again?
It's buns and basketball. It's real, Frank.
They didn't even try and justify it with a regular name. They went straight to the hard buns and basketball.
Frank, please give us your take, man.
I have absolutely no take on buns and basketball. I'm going for the next subject. I want to be able to sleep on the couch tonight.
Yeah.
Yo, and even in buns and basketball, I only saw one black chick. How is there still racism with buns and basketball?
That's what I'm talking about, man.
Even with the buns, the pioneers, the originators. And I still only see one African American woman out there.
What's that about? See,
what is that about?
You gotta look outside the box, Frank.
You got to.
Something there.
You gotta look outside the bun.
Here we go.
Hey Frank, the Blackhawks president of operations, Stan Bowman, resigns. We're looking at the hockey situation. Do we know why he resigned?
No, there's been no things about why he resigned and everything else, but it's been looked like it's leading towards some sexual assault allegations, something like that, man. So, listen, we all know what's going on with hockey and sexual assault. We all know that it's not going to be covered right and everything else. So there's a lot of issues with a lot of teams right now with sexual assault and allegations and things like that. So it'd be interesting to see how this gets unpacked, man. You know what I mean? It'd be really interesting to see.
We got one of our listeners says she definitely wants to be a part of Abundant. Oh, just didn't know thing. Okay. I'm trying to help, man. Renee said, "What's up to Frank Holder?"
Hey, Renee.
What up? Come on, Mike. Move on, bro.
How is that me? She blames it on me.
Rodney. You have to say Rodney.
That's probably me.
Yeah.
So again, Rodney, yes, it is. We are having fun.
Yeah, I want to say a shout out to all the listeners and stuff who are watching the show and continue to support the show. I thank you. I appreciate
In the words of talent, it's just
comedy.
Well said.
Don't take none of this personal.
Guys. You guys, shouts out to the Business Bully. Shouts out to Fig, who is out today. Shouts out to the talent who is always on the road, getting it. And my two illustrious colleagues here, Mr. Frank Holder, Mr. Mike Sean. I'm Rodney Perry. And Mike Sean, how do people get in touch with you to be a part of your work?
You see it right there. Just hit me at Mike Sean Comedy on all social media platforms. The next show, if you're in the DFW areas at the Arlington Improv, and we're going to rock out November 4th. That's a Thursday night. Just go to my Instagram, tap the link in the bio, and get them tickets. Yeah.
Man.
I got to check out these shows, man. I got to check out these shows.
You got to come down, Frank.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Frank Holder, man. People can watch the box seats on any number of platforms. They can watch it here live, but they can catch it other ways too, am I right?
Yeah, you can watch Box Seats live, obviously on social media, but you can watch the repeat on the Humor Mill channels, on Plex, it's on DirecTV, it's on Distro, it's on a lot of things. The repeat comes on at 3, especially if I can edit it fast enough. It'll be replayed at 3 o'clock every day. If we miss the 3 o'clock, you'll see the repeat the following day. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for telling a friend to tell a friend.
Appreciate y'all. My name is Rodney Perry. This is Box Seats. You can catch me, Rodney Perry, live on all social media platforms. I'll be at Tennessee State this weekend. I'm hosting their gala. They have a gala for the scholarship gala. I'll be hosting that. So I'll be in Nashville.
Hey, Rodney, where'd you get that rich ass shirt from? Where'd you get that rich shirt from? Where'd you get it? Stop playing with me. I see you doing galas. I'm wearing hoodies. I see that shirt right there. That ain't no regular shirt. That ain't regular.
Hey, Mike Sean, when you big, you just gotta find something that fit. And chest pieces fit.
No, when you got a shirt that has chest pieces on, you doing galas. That's when you doing galas. Shout out to chest pieces. Yeah.
Phenomenal show, fellas. Well done. I like the way our listeners be talking to each other. Hey, Alfreda. All right. Great show today, guys. Frank Holder, thanks for coming in and hitting the 3 off the walk in, hit the court with a 3-pointer.
Came off the bench,
sir. I think that's it. Yeah.
That's it.
That's it.
We good. That's it.
Y'all want to just talk now?